So imagine taking your exact salary, packing up your entire life, moving, I don't know, 2,000 miles east, and instantly feeling like you got a $100,000 raise.
Right, without even changing your job.
Exactly. You didn't get a promotion. You didn't change companies. You literally just changed your zip code. And right now, in 2026, tech executives and, well, high-earning professionals aren't moving to Austin or Miami to pull this off anymore.
Yeah, that was the old playbook.
Right. Instead, they're quietly packing up their lives in the San Francisco Bay Area and making a highly calculated migration to Carmel, Indiana.
Which completely flips the traditional narrative of, where success is supposed to live.
Hmm.
I mean, for decades, the assumption was always that if you wanted to be at the absolute top of the tech or professional world, you just had to endure the coastal grind.
You had to pay your dues.
Exactly. But what we're seeing now is a structural break in that thinking.
Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We're unpacking a really fascinating phenomenon today that might honestly make you rethink your entire living situation, especially if you are currently listening to this while, stuck in an hour-long commute.
Yeah, which so many people are.
Totally. So our grounding material today is this comprehensive 2026 relocation and luxury real estate guide by Cara. She's Carmel's premier luxury residential advisor, and she has documented exactly how and why these coastal families are executing this specific move.
In looking at her data, it is abundantly clear that this isn't just like a handful of remote workers looking for cheaper rent. This is a targeted wealth strategy.
Wow, wealth strategy. I like that.
Yeah, because these families are keeping their lucrative career trajectories, but they're radically altering their purchasing power and really their daily quality of life.
Okay, let's unpack this right there, starting with the purchasing power. Because before we even look at the lifestyle, we really have to look at the sheer, undeniable math of this migration.
Oh, the math is staggering.
It really is. So let's say you're looking at the Bay Area real estate market right now in February 2026. A budget of, say, $1.5 to $2 million is, frankly, it's depressing.
It doesn't get you much.
No. You are fighting tooth and nail, waiving inspections, doing all these crazy things just to secure a modest, aging condo. Maybe a two-bedroom house with 0 yard if you are incredibly lucky.
And that's a big if.
Right. But then you look at Conde's data for Carmel. The average home value is sitting around $555,487. The median sale price is just under $500,000.
Which is just a staggering contrast. You're taking the exact same pool of capital, the exact same down payment, and applying it in what feels like an alternate financial universe.
It really does. It makes me think of those weighted vests people wear when they're training for a marathon.
Oh yeah, the resistance gear.
Exactly. Living and buying property in San Francisco is like running your financial race with a 50-pound vest strapped to your chest. You are burning massive amounts of energy, or in this case, income, just to move forward at a normal pace.
That is the perfect analogy.
Right. So moving to Carmel isn't just about buying a different house. It's taking the vest off. Suddenly, every single dollar you earn goes exponentially further.
And the heavy vest isn't just the sticker price of the house either. It's the compounding effect of the overall cost of living.
Oh, for sure.
Because the source material highlights that the cost of living in San Francisco is 113% higher than in Carmel.
113%.
Yes. That is not a small premium for, having good weather. That is literally paying for 2 lives while only getting to live one.
Okay, wait. So if I'm tracking $1, it's not just the mortgage taking a hit. It's the groceries, the utilities, the childcare, the insurance.
Exactly. Everything. And the tax burden is really the heaviest plate in that weighted vest.
Yeah.
I mean, California's top marginal tax rates can hit up to 13.3%.
Which is brutal.
It is. But Indiana, on the other hand, offers a flat state income tax right around 3.0 to 3.2%. So when you combine dramatically lower home prices with a flat tax rate that is just a fraction of California's, you aren't just saving a few bucks at the end of the month. You are experiencing what the guide calls the salary stretch.
The salary stretch. Unpack the mechanics of that for me. Like, what does that actually look like for a family on a spreadsheet?
Well, let's look at household earnings, say, $200,000 to $250,000 a year. In the Bay Area, after taxes, exorbitant housing costs, and the inflated cost of everyday goods, that family might feel entirely middle class.
They might even feel stretched pretty thin, honestly.
Exactly. But you take that exact same 200 to 250 income to Carmel, And suddenly, they have the purchasing power of a family earning well over $350,000 in San Francisco.
So they essentially just reclaim 100 grand in discretionary income just by changing their geography.
Precisely. And what happens when you free up that kind of capital?
Right.
You aren't just like buying a bigger television.
Right.
It fundamentally alters a family's generational wealth trajectory. I mean, you're maxing out investment accounts, you're funding 529 college plans without breaking a sweat, you're traveling internationally.
And you're entirely removing that ambient, low-level financial panic that constantly comes with coastal living.
Exactly. That stress just vanishes.
Okay, so the math makes total sense. I completely see why the spreadsheet works. But I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
Because if I am a San Francisco tech executive and I'm used to world-class dining, incredible architecture, and this highly elevated lifestyle, I hear Midwest suburb and my mind immediately goes to endless concrete strip malls.
Right. The chain restaurants, the cornfield.
Exactly. Giant, soulless McMansions sitting in former cornfields. What am I actually buying into in Carmel? Am I sacrificing my entire lifestyle just to have a big backyard?
That is easily the most common hesitation.
Yeah.
And it's exactly why Carmel is the specific target for this demographic rather than just any random town in the Midwest.
Okay, how so?
Carmel has aggressively engineered itself to counter that exact stereotype. The guide highlights that these families are moving into master-planned communities that offer a level of sophisticated, curated living that actually rivals coastal enclaves.
So give me an example of how that works on the ground. Because, I mean, master plan can sometimes just mean all the houses are painted the exact same shade of beige.
Oh no, far from it. Take the village of West Clay, for example, which is prominently featured in Condé's guide.
Okay.
It was specifically designed with European-inspired walkability in mind. We're talking about diverse, historically inspired architecture, everything from luxury townhomes to massive legacy estates.
Oh, wow.
And it's all interwoven with neighborhood shops, local restaurants, parks, and meeting spaces. You can step out of your 5-bedroom estate and walk down tree-lined streets to grab a coffee or meet friends for dinner without ever getting on a major highway.
That is really interesting. So it's mimicking the dense, walkable neighborhood feel of a great San Francisco district, but without the actual density.
Exactly. You get the walkability and the premium amenities, but you completely remove the friction.
Like the parking.
Right. You aren't circling the block for 40 minutes trying to find parking. You aren't dealing with overflowing trash cans or gridlock.
Makes sense.
And if you don't want the village feel, there are other options. Communities like Laurelwood and Bridalbourne offer these ultra-prestigious private estates on huge lots with resort-like amenities.
Nice.
Or, if you want water access, there are sprawling properties in Jackson's Grant and the Geist waterfront areas.
Okay, so what does that purchasing power actually buy in these neighborhoods? Like, if my 1.5 million bought me a tiny condo in the Bay, what does it buy in West Clay or Geist?
Well, in Carmel, a budget of $700,000 to $900,000.
Mm-hmm.
So roughly half your San Francisco budget is securing a 4,000 to 6,000 plus square foot estate.
Half the budget. That's insane.
Right. We're talking 5 to 7 bedrooms, massive modern kitchens, dedicated home offices, and huge private landscape yards.
That is wild. But wait, if thousands of well-funded coastal transplants are targeting these exact neighborhoods, doesn't that just recreate the insane bidding wars they're trying to escape in California?
You'd think so, but that is where the actual mechanics of the real estate transaction becomes so critical.
Yeah.
Cara Condé's guide details that many of these premium property relocations happen entirely off-market.
Hold on, I need you to explain that. The guide mentions she uses predictive market insights to source these homes.
Yeah.
Does that mean she is literally knocking on the doors of houses that aren't even for sale to get these families in?
That is exactly what it means, and it relies on deep data and really strong local networking.
Wow.
Yeah, a specialist like Condé isn't just waiting for a house to pop up on Zillow. She's looking at demographic data, identifying, say, empty nesters sitting in 6,000 square foot homes in Laurelwood whose kids just left for college.
Oh, I see.
She leverages her local relationships to approach these homeowners privately and essentially says, look, I have a fully funded buyer from California who wants your exact layout. We can do this quietly, with no open houses, no staging, and entirely on your timeline.
Oh, wow. That is a completely different game.
Completely.
You're bypassing the open market entirely. You avoid the bidding war. You avoid the anxiety. And you just negotiate a clean off-market transfer.
Exactly. It removes all that wave contingency frenzy that really defines West Coast real estate right now.
Okay, so we've established that you can buy a massive, gorgeous estate in a highly walkable, curated neighborhood for half the price of a Bay Area condo.
Yep.
But let's be real. If you are moving your entire family across the country, a nice house with a media room isn't the primary anchor.
No, definitely not.
Right, because buying a 5,000 square foot house doesn't mean much if you have to send your kids to a failing school district, or if you have to immediately spend $40,000 a year per child on private school tuition just to compensate for the public schools.
Oh, for sure. Education is typically the ultimate deal breaker for these families.
So how does Carmel hold up there?
This is where Carmel doesn't just compete with coastal cities, it honestly often surpasses them.
Really?
Yeah. The guide relies on the niche 2026 rankings, and the data for Carmel Clay Schools is genuinely phenomenal. They hold an A-plus overall grade. And out of more than 10,000 public school districts in the United States, Carmel is ranked number 66 nationally.
Wait, let me just pause on that. Number 66 out of over 10,000.
Right.
That puts them squarely in the top 1% of all public school districts in the entire country.
Yes, it does. They are the #1 public high school in the Indianapolis area. They boast incredibly rigorous AP and STEM programs, and they have facilities that literally rival small colleges.
I have to say, I had to read that education data twice when I was prepping for this, because public education in major coastal cities is often a massive source of stress for parents.
Well, it's a nightmare for so many people.
It is incredibly volatile. If you live in San Francisco, the quality of your local public school can vary wildly depending on your exact zip code or sometimes even which side of a specific street your house is on.
Right. For coastal parents, managing their child's educational path basically becomes a second full-time job.
Exactly.
They're navigating these Byzantine school zoning laws, entering literal lotteries, just hoping their child gets placed in a decent magnet school.
Or they're resigning themselves to paying astronomical private school tuition, which completely eats into all that wealth we were just talking about.
Exactly. So what makes Carmel different is consistent excellence and resource allocation. Because the local tax base is incredibly strong, and because the community places such a high premium on education, the schools are flawlessly funded.
That makes sense.
Right. Whether it's their academic pathways preparing kids for Ivy League universities or their extracurricular programs, which, by the way, routinely produce state champions in athletics, robotics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The quality is remarkably stable, so for a transplant family, that consistency is invaluable. You don't have to win a lottery to get your kid a world-class education. You just have to live within the city limits.
That peace of mind is huge.
It's everything.
And speaking of peace of mind, let's look at the physical environment the kids are actually growing up in. Because there is a detail in Condé's guide about urban design that I found utterly fascinating, mostly because people usually make fun of it.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Roundabouts!
Yes. It sounds like a punchline, right? Like some minor infrastructure quirk. But it is actually a masterclass in urban engineering.
It really is. Carmel has over 140 roundabouts. They're internationally famous for them. But the guide points out this isn't just an aesthetic choice to make the town look more European. It fundamentally changes the safety of the city.
Absolutely.
I looked into the mechanics of this. How do roundabouts actually change the culture of a town?
Well, it's all about physics and human behavior. In a standard American grid system with four-way stoplights, you have massive, stressful intersections. People are constantly accelerating to beat red lights, which is what leads to high-speed, fatal T-bone collisions.
Right, which are the worst kind.
Exactly.
Right.
Roundabouts completely eliminate the T-bone crash. They force all traffic to move in a continuous one-way circular flow at like 15 to 20 miles per hour.
So even if there is an accident, it's a slow-motion fender bender, not a catastrophic crash.
Exactly. It dramatically reduces fatal and injury accidents. But beyond just the statistics, consider what that means for the daily feel of the city.
The noise, probably.
Yes, you don't have the roaring sound of cars gunning it through intersections.
Eh.
Traffic just flows smoothly and quietly. And the guide notes that this intentional urban design directly contributes to an environment where parents actually feel comfortable letting their kids ride their bikes around the neighborhood.
That's such a great point.
It slows the physical world down just enough to make it deeply livable.
Which is such a stark contrast to the heightened state of alert you constantly have to maintain when raising kids in a dense urban environment.
100%.
So, okay, we've covered the benefits for the kids, the top-tier schools, and the safe, bikeable streets. We've covered the benefits for the bank account. But if you are listening to this right now, creeping along the 101 at 10 miles an hour, you are probably wondering what a random Tuesday looks like for the working adult.
Right. What is the daily grind actually like?
Exactly.
Well, the commute is often the heaviest daily toll on a professional's psychological well-being. In the Bay Area, you're looking at a highly stressful 45 to 90-plus minute gridlock each way just to get to the office.
It's soul crushing.
It drains your energy before the workday even begins.
Right. In San Francisco, your daily commute is the length of a feature film. In Carmel, the typical drive into the Indianapolis corporate hubs or local tech centers is like 20 to 30 minutes of low-stress driving.
Yeah, it's basically the length of this deep dive.
Exactly. Think about what you do with getting back 5 to 10 hours of your life every single week.
It's life-changing. But the guide urges us to look even broader than just the commute. We really have to talk about the ambient, environmental stressors that coastal residents carry around subconsciously.
You mean the physical environment, like the climate?
Yes. When you live in California, there is a persistent backdrop of environmental anxiety. You have the underlying ever-present threat of earthquakes. You have the increasingly severe year-round wildfire risks.
Which completely wreck air quality and home insurance rates.
Absolutely. And you have the persistent coastal fog. Moving to Carmel means trading those specific anxieties for 4 distinct, vibrant seasons.
That sounds nice.
It is. You get beautiful, warm summers, spectacular autumn foliage, and immediate access to hundreds of acres of protected parks and extensive trail systems right in your backyard.
It's really about removing that background dread.
Yeah.
So when we pull all of these threads together, the purchasing power, the off-market luxury estates, the top 1% schools, the walkable communities, and the elimination of the brutal commute, what is the ultimate picture that Condé's guide is painting for 2026?
The ultimate picture is that Carmel has successfully engineered the elusive sweet spot.
The sweet spot.
Yeah, because it provides the career connectivity and cultural amenities of a larger city. They have a vibrant designated arts district, the Palladium Concert Hall, thriving local culinary scenes.
But you aren't giving up good food.
Not at all. And you have easy access to a major metropolitan center in Indianapolis. But it perfectly insulates all that sophistication inside the warmth, safety, and financial sanity of a small town.
It makes the luxury lifestyle feel genuinely attainable. You aren't endlessly grinding on a treadmill just to afford the basic privilege of living in a safe neighborhood with good schools.
Precisely. It allows professionals to actually enjoy the fruits of their labor. I mean, they can thrive in their careers while their families flourish in a supportive, high-quality environment, entirely insulated from the friction and financial bleeding of coastal urban living.
So, to wrap this up for you listening, if you are sitting in a multi-million-dollar condo right now, dreading an hour-and-a-half gridlock commute, and wondering how you're going to pay for private school next year, this 2026 data presents a wildly compelling alternative.
It really does.
The math is just undeniable. You're looking at an immediate 113% drop in the cost of living. You are trading that heavy financial vest for a spacious off-market estate. You are giving your kids access to the top 1% of schools in the nation, and you are stepping into a life where your salary actually matches your lifestyle.
And it leaves us with a very profound shift to consider moving forward.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if the rise of remote work, hybrid models, and decentralization means that geography is no longer the strict gatekeeper to a high-paying tech career, how will this massive salary stretch fundamentally redefine the American dream over the next decade?
Man, that is the million-dollar question, literally.
Right. If families can earn coastal salaries while living in master-planned, financially advantageous environments like Carmel, are traditional coastal tech hubs destined to become obsolete for the modern professional family?
Wow.
Or will cities like San Francisco simply hollow out, becoming enclaves reserved exclusively for the ultra-wealthy and the young and single, leaving families to build their wealth in the Midwest?
It absolutely makes you wonder. The next time you find yourself scrolling through those real estate listings, agonizing over that sliding scale of compromise between the house you want and the schools you need, maybe you aren't doing the math wrong. Maybe you just aren't looking at the right map.